In this video, I'm going to teach you how to waste 3 years building a membership. So you can please stop. Hi there, my name is Evelyn Weiss. I've built my low ticket online business to over 8 million in sales, over 61,000 customers, over 34,000 paid subscribers, and I've built multiple memberships all the way from only $7 a month to $999 a month. I've also helped countless people with their memberships, so I have big sample number and quite a bit of pattern recognition as in why people get stuck building their membership. And in this video, I want to give you the short notes of that so you can stop doing these things. All right, so what's the first thing? The first thing is that you perfect your content before you launch or market, right? So this is the number one thing, which is why I have to talk about it right away. People think I just have to add this course, then I'm ready to, finally push in the marketing or finally plan my launch. I just have to add this workbook. I just have to do this workshop with my members. I just have to add the tool library. I just have to complete this section and then I'll feel ready to market. I feel ready to launch. So this often can keep people in a creation effort for months, if not years, and they always feel like, oh, it's not good enough to start. I want to now give you the super practical, what did I have when I started my new membership in the B2C space from scratch, so you get a realistic understanding of what I believe needs to be a minimum viable membership. And I already feel like I went a little bit overboard because this is a new area for me and I felt a little insecure. Okay, so what I had in there for the start was a foundations course. And now a course sounds really, really big. When we break it down, this is about 2 hours worth of video where I walk people through the foundational thing that we do here in this membership, right? So I defined the before and the after, and I said, what pieces, what steps do they need to take to bridge the before and after? And then I made videos about it. It was actually quite hard for me to do it because it's such a new area. And usually in business, I have so much experience. I can just pull from what I do. And here I also was able to pull from what I do, but it was up until that point, I only had done it for myself and never did it for others. So it took me a little bit longer. So I want to give you a tip here. What I did was I created slide content. And as I was creating the slide content, it forced me to get really, really clear and really specific. So you can see, I just laid it out in Canva. What I often do when I host workshops is that I just record myself in Loom. Then I strip the transcript, put that into ChatGPT. I can just give you a quick example, right? And ask for structure. This is just a quick Loom that I created. It's an exercise for something, but you can basically do this with any Loom ramble that you have, right? So you want to create your foundational content. You just say, okay, this is where they are before, this is where they're after. Here's what I think needs to happen. And you just blurb it out, right? No structure required. You take the transcript of that you had to ChatGPT and say, what are the 5 steps they need to take to bridge the before and after, right? Then it will give you structure based on what you said. It will find the sequence in there logically. Okay, so choose a viral video title as a prompt. Ask ChatGPT to elicit your opinions. Record your answer. Okay, and then once I have this for my curriculum, now I can do the same here and I can just riff on, right? So this is a smaller video. Obviously, this is why it's smaller steps, but you might have a little bit of a bigger transformation and then you get those sub steps and now you riff on them. And then you again say, okay, here are my thoughts. Now bring that in a logical order. Then you just take this again and say, okay, here are my thoughts on number 1. Bring that into a logical order and flash out all to-dos MISI, right? So mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. And then, okay, step 1, understand why this matters. Step 2, source a high signal title, right? So it really goes deeper. Step 3, customize the title for yourself. And then you have basically your slide content. So now you just need to transfer it to the slides. As you're transferring it to the slides, you're reading through everything and you're like, yes, that's what I want to say. No, I would put it like this. So you correct it word by word, and ultimately you're going to have your slides that you can basically then present well, right? And then you have it all well structured, logically flowing, well articulated. You thought it through completely. That's the core transformational content. That is something that I would love for everyone to have in their membership when they start, so that people have transformation clarity. When people don't have transformation clarity, they don't know what progress looks like. right? So they don't know, why am I even here and what are we even doing? And so when they don't know what progress looks like, they can't understand that they're making progress. And when they don't understand that they're making progress, they will leave, because being in a membership is all about making progress in a shared direction, right? So that's why I want you to have this in there as one of the foundational. I would like you to start a tools library. And so what this looked like for me is that I just set up the space and I planned out all of the tools that I want to eventually have, right? And I just added the first one in here. That was all. The other ones I just had planned out. And as people were coming in and I saw need, I started to create more resources based on what they saw needs around. And here you see some I don't have in here yet, but people asked, right? So I'm going to prioritize creating those. And I'm going in really, really small creation steps. So you can see I'm having those daily accountability posts for checking in. And with the accountability posts, I give them a small daily exercise. And those small daily exercises I'm adding to the tool library, but it fills up as we go. And as I'm seeing these are things that they need, or these are things that I can give them quickly because those are things that I'm doing for myself, right? So, but I just started with just the idea of what categories we're roughly going to have in the tools library, and then just one of the tools that they can consume immediately. So I can also show it on the video sales letter, and the rest I'm co-creating with them. Then I had a let's talk, and that's just me wanting to create content based on having live workshops with them. I just had the first one in there and I just planned it out and delivered it. So I started this without this. It was just on the calendar. Okay. That was it. I just planned the topic. I put it on the calendar. So I knew I have to present this live and co-create it with them. And now I'm adding more over time based on exactly what they need. Because here you can see, I recently asked them, I didn't even add categories, right? I let now the categories emerge. And here you can see I got quite a few people that said, I want to have things around money mindset. Based on their feedback, the next talk that I'm going to do is, and here they were like, oh, I want to know how to simplify the process, right? So I could react in real time when they said, I want to know how to simplify the process, and basically give them a prompt that simplifies the process for them, right? So I can now react in super real time, like on the day, to what exactly they need versus me overbuilding it. So what I want you to understand on this first point is that your content gets better if you launch sooner with a minimum viable version, because then you can build it with and for real people, right? So build the container first, minimum viable, and then focus on marketing like crazy, because the more people you get in, the better you can build out the content. Your content will not be good if you build it alone, right? So that's the reframe that you need. Your content is not perfect because you don't build it with and for people. So stop building your content. Do the minimum thing that I told you and then build it with people. Okay, next step is, if you want to, waste 3 years building a membership, build the perfect sales page, not the imperfect audience. Okay, another thing that I see people is they are really, really focused on creating the perfect sales page. And I get it, because I do have some utterly gorgeous sales pages for my memberships, right? So here you can see, for example, for our PLR membership, we have a really, really, in my opinion, beautiful sales page. And it's really well and nicely built out. And when I had my coaching memberships, I also had a really beautiful sales page in place. And now, for example, even when we competed in the school games, I need to see if I can still find it. That would be so cool. Oh yeah. So here you can see we had like the most gorgeous sales page here, right? Now, here's the thing. We actually ran traffic to this versus to a simple school about page. And the simple school about page converted more profitably than the ads through this gorgeous bridge page. Okay. So beautiful sales page can definitely help you to build trust. And I don't want to minimize the importance of that. But in order for you to start and to market and to fill up, you don't need much. When I started this new membership, I just started it with this school about page and I ran traffic directly to it, right? And I did it from zero audience, set up a new pixel, new Facebook page, new Instagram, everything from scratch. And I just used this about page to convert people. And when we're now looking at the conversion rate, we can see that this page converts at 5%, right? So that's not bad traffic. Now I want to show you something else that will blow your mind. I am selling programs for 222 to 555 from Google Docs like this. So this is my almost evergreen program. This, for example, is $444. and I sold it just from this Google Doc. So all we had in here was, this is an 8-week program. Here's what I recently did and what happened. This is when this program starts. Here's what it includes. This is what we do every single week. This is the special offer. And then here are my results from doing this. And then here are the dates. And I'm basically selling from this Google Doc. Why? Because of two things, right? Number one, if your idea is strong enough and people want it enough, then you are going to convert from a really simple page like the School About page. School About page is also crazily conversion optimized because School has so much data that they can get to significant relevance. I think Sam said it to me like within 10 minutes of testing something, just because they have so much traffic, right? So the About page on School looks super simple, but it's actually like pretty crazily conversion optimized. That's one thing. Also, if your offer is attractive enough, then it will convert with this simple information. If it doesn't convert, and if it needs more sales pitch and more bonus and more shebang, the point is that your idea is not good enough, right? The way you're articulating it, the frame is not sharp and simple enough for you to convert well to cold traffic, which is ultimately what we want to have with our membership, to make it really, really scalable. Even if you don't use cold traffic, even if you use organic traffic, right? If you need more, then you're not thinking simple and bold enough, then you're not articulate enough, you have not nailed the messaging and the positioning. You've over-engineered it very, very likely. So that's the other point of it. And then what I mentioned is, on top of that, right, why can I sell from these Google Docs? Because I built an audience and I've built trust with my audience and I've built a reputation with my audience that what I create is good. So whatever I do, and you see this, like people post screenshots of like feedback of that all the time, is like, whatever you create, I'm going to buy. And it's because I've built the relationship and the reputation with them. So you focusing on, first off, making the idea simple and shaping the idea dynamically, right? Which a School About page lets you shape the idea. It's much easier to shape your membership and test another angle and make it sharper and zoom in and zoom out. It's much, much easier than when you are rebuilding a whole sales pitch, right? So again, you're staying agile when you use this. So focus on the simple idea, on testing iterations as quickly as possible, which is also what you can do if you just have a minimum viable product, then you can react in real time. And then on the other side, where most of your effort should go at this stage, is also not going into the sales page building. It is going into audience building, okay? Because an audience that trusts you will buy from a shabby Google Doc. And that's the key point. Of course, certain things like self-liquidating offers, right? Or when you want to scale it, having a gorgeous sales pitch is an asset. You see me having it and you see me doing it, but you need to know when to invest your time into it. And it's probably not if you don't have a memo and if not even have a validated idea. All right, next point here is you obsess over your $97 price point and you ignore the power of a mini membership. Okay, me, after I've been through it all, I had first a $27 membership that I turned into a $49 membership. Then I added a $7 membership in front. Then I had a year-long program that was $777. I've been through all of the price points. And what I can tell you is that as I started a new membership to show exactly how I start from scratch and to build this case study, I picked the $7 price point. What I see where people get stuck in their membership for years is like they obsessing over charging their worth. I'm so sorry I have to say this, before they even have a proven product or product to market fit, just because it took, and I said this in another video, right? But just because it took you so many years to gather that expertise does not mean that the market cares about this. And it also doesn't mean that you're able to transport that effectively. So you're obsessing over charging your worth, right? When in reality, right now, the market doesn't say this is worth anything to them. Instead of holding on to that and just being able to move a lot less volume, you could just go as low as possible, keep tweaking, because very likely you still will have to, until it clicks with $7, then start to get a volume of people in, then start to build what they actually need, then start to get the real life feedback and results for people and all of the social proof, and then up your price accordingly, if that is still what you want, because there's also argument to be made to stay at a $7 membership. And again, after being through it all, I have decided that I want to stay with this new membership at this super affordable price point. Why? Because, and that brings me to the next point, often if we make it more expensive, we will include unscalable things that make our membership so high touch that we secretly don't want to scale them. And I am so guilty of this. So I have Scale with Evelyn. And last week I got 2 new mastermind members, one after a call and one just booked in, which was so cool. Like he does 6 million a year, has been doing it for the last decade, and has a really amazing following. And he has been actually following me for years, and I had no idea about this. So I was really shocked, when he just bought and then bought a paid session. And then it made sense to me that he actually had been in my audience for such a long time. Again, building the audience versus building the sales page. I was like, 2 new members signing up for the mastermind, and I was like, oh, because I actually at the moment don't feel like growing the mastermind, because it is so hands-on for me, right? It is so labor intensive that I am scared to scale it, because I'm setting such a high standard for myself and expectation as in how close I want to work with these people. It is just not a container that I feel like scaling. Also in Grow with Evelyn, when I upped the price from $49.59 to then $99, and I included a lot of the personalized video feedback, I now am less eager to scale it. And I see that this is happening for a lot of people, right? So they're thinking like, how can I get my monthly recurring revenue up? Okay, I need to up my price. How do I justify the price? Okay, I include more service components. I include more value. And then when they want to scale it, they're like, oh crap. Like, just like we, it's like, this is really hard to deliver at scale, right? And so this is why I am kind of thresholding around the 77. I can't scale this more, because if I scale it more, it will impact my life quality or the delivery quality. Also, a common mistake, one that I made myself, what to do instead is focusing on building something that is really scalable in the delivery. And this is why I'm so excited about this new community. As you can see, the calendar for this new community, it is completely empty. I also will not promise a certain amount of Q&As or session or a specific type of support in the sense of 24-hour, to respond on your comments, etc. Right now I'm doing it, but I don't want to have it promised, right? Because I want to have this really, really scalable container. It just adds so much fun and joy, and it's so lightweight. So also think about, when you're structuring your membership, what will that look like on scale, and will that be sustainable, and will that be excited to sell it? Because if you're not excited to sell it, chances are you won't. Next point here, you are treating your membership like a finished product, not a living experiment. I already touched base on this, but I really want to drive home the point that you have seen my community, right? And how I started it really minimum viable, and how I'm now moving forward on a daily basis with things. And what I'm building out, I'm really leaning into what the members want. Like you saw, now they're requesting that I create an identity resource around the money mindset and identity blocks around money. I would have never even thought about doing this. I would have never even considered it. If I would have approached memberships like most people do, that would have just not been within scope, right? And if it's not within scope from your own setup, members don't ask for it. So that's an important insight for you to realize, is when you design a flexible container, when you have a minimum viable membership that you start, and then you have this living entity, then you're also through the lines giving people permission to ask for those things. When you already have a really clear vision, right? When you're already thinking of it as a finished product and you structure it like that, you are making it a lot less likely that people will ask for things that you think are like a little bit out of the box. You would have not considered making them. But when you are having this living experiment, then you can really lean into what people want. And guess what? Those are the things that have product to market fit very, very often, right? So it's worth gold, which is why don't treat your membership like a finished product. Treat it like an experiment. Next one is, seeing this so often, you stay loyal to your 5 current members, even if they're not active. Like, this is breaking my heart. People come into my world and they're like, oh yeah, I've had my membership for 2 years and I still have my 11 founding members and they're really loyal. So I don't want to do things that upset them. I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's log in. Let's see when your founding members have last time logged into the membership. When did they last come to a call? How was that call? Are they actually still paying? Right? And then we kind of realized that out of those 11 founding members, there are 2 people that are actually still using it. And it's basically people that get one-to-one support for $11 a month. And it's like, well, duh, of course they're not leaving, because you are basically giving one-to-one coaching for $11 a month on a flat rate. So I'm not saying that we should not be extremely generous, especially in the beginning, especially when we are validating our concepts and we're gathering this proof. But at one point, you need to focus on growth. And if, those people are only loyal to you because it's way too good of a deal to abandon you and you're actually in this weird codependent relationship, then it's better for you to say, I'm okay with upsetting them, which actually, by the way, you don't do, because they don't pay as much attention to the membership as you think. But even if they did, at one point you have to be okay with it, because otherwise you're just in a really weird contract that is not serving you and it's taking way too much of your life, time, and force. So you need to detangle that. You need to respect the past, but build for the future. And you want to honor your early members, the ones that also honor you. And you can grandfather them in. You can even gift it to them, right, if they're still active. But it changes so fundamentally in nature. But then you want to go into minimum viable membership and spaghetti on the wall mode, iterating as fast as you can until you have product to market fit, and you can grow a membership that is people really want, right? And so when I look at the growth rate of what does it look like when you found product to market fit, and by the way, this is not crazy product to market fit. We had memberships where I had people scaling them with ads in 3 days to a few hundred members because they were like so spot on. This is okay product to market fit. I've been able to grow this to 160 members within the course of, let's make it clear, 15th of May till 25th of June, which is about 1 month and 10 days, 260 members. So we can say 40 days. You can see, okay, this is 4 people a day. That's actually not a crazy growth rate for a membership. So this means that this still needs sharpening to have actual product to market fit, but it's solid enough of an idea to have some significant growth, right? So it's worth for me to keep shaping this living experiment and keep tailoring it towards more product to market fit. It's not an insane growth rate either. So this is what your momentum ideally should look like if you're discovering something that is a thing, and you don't want to allow yourself to dwell on a spot where you don't have something that is a thing, because again, then you will not grow from this point, right? And you'll stay stuck for 3 years building that membership. Okay. And of course, now full transparency, right? I have spent money to gather these members. So here you can see my ad stats, and here you can see I'm currently cash flow negative $70, right? But so I spent $1,800 on ads. I built up a total revenue of 1,771. And here is my projected total profitability and the projected customer lifetime value. And now when you think, oh, why is this higher than the monthly recurring revenue in here? It's because of the annual signups, right? So when we put a price, we can also add an annual sign up. And so obviously that helps with the revenue. Okay. So just realistic expectations. I am in break-even mode with this, right? And in the next month, I am going to turn a profit from it. So there is money to be invested in ads in order to have this growth ratio, but you also want to optimize for having a certain ratio of growth. Also because, again, your membership becomes more valuable. First off, because you have community building, but especially because your members will help you get it to product to market fit, where you are getting towards those crazier growth rates that I just mentioned before. So now, with that said, let's look into the next mistake. The next mistake is you are avoiding ads like they're poisonous, right? And so this is also something that I see. And I know that there is so much mindset work that goes into running ads. But I think one thing that I want to show you is that you can work out a lot of the mindset by really looking at the key stats. And so this is what I also want to do with you now in this video. I want to show you the stats here, okay? So please look at the numbers. So first off, what am I tracking? I'm tracking the date, the ad spend converted into US because I'm spending in euro. I track the monthly signups, the annual signups, how much they are in revenue, total profit per day, total new members per day, average revenue per user. Okay, so those are the stats that I look at and track every single day. Now, I also summarize them up. So what is my current profit? I always want to have this at 0. Now you think like, this is crazy. Why would you want to have it at 0? Why do you not want to have it as high as possible? If I have it higher than 0, it means I'm not reinvesting aggressively enough in my business, that I'm growing at the maximum rate I can grow at from cash flow directly, right? So ideally, this is around 0. Then I have it perfectly balanced. And if you see, if I'm adding my ad data for the day, it will be around 0, right? Because if we, for example, removing yesterday that was a little bit weaker, right? So it will average around that, and that's my goal. Then we have the monthly churn that I'm looking at. And here you can see right now it says that I don't have a monthly churn, but I already have a few people in the canceling tab. And so I know what my monthly churn will be. It will be 4.1%. Then we have the total revenue. This is just tallied up from this column, the total ad spend, and then the total members. Based on our RPU, we can calculate our projected customer lifetime value. And now this is the mental shift that you need to make. You need to look at the total customer lifetime value. Those totally 151 members as of yesterday, I still need to add to today, those are worth, at the current churn rate, $24,000. So why do I not care about making $70 loss? Because this is the lifetime value potentially that I generate if I keep doing a good enough job on my churn, right? So this minus the ad spend means the total projected profit is 22,000 based on the current churn rate. This is why I'm not afraid to spend money on ads, because I know my numbers, right? So I see it clearly and I'm like, wow, this is cool. For every dollar spent, I'm getting $13.47 back. Where else can I get this kind of return, right? And obviously every situation is different, but I just want you to understand that you need to look at the numbers. I also think how much can I maximum spend, etc. I like to calculate my CAC to LTV ratio and things like that, but this is the numbers that I really wanted you to understand. So if you want to grow a membership, you want to run ads, even if you want to grow it organically in the future, you want to run ads to validate the idea, to have product to market fit as soon as possible, right? And have it really validated from cold traffic, because even if you then decide to use organic traffic, you can sell so much more. And by the way, if you then, turn profitable, you would also want to stick with the paid traffic. If you want to keep building a membership for 3 years and getting nowhere, then avoid ads like they're poisonous. Okay? Next. If you want to waste 3 years building a membership, then add 50 people to your email list every single quarter and call it growth. One thing that I need you to be aware of is that most people significantly underestimate the volume that they need to get the result. So if you are only adding 50 people per quarter to your email list, it's just way too slow of a growth rate. And maybe I want to illustrate this by showing you my numbers here, so you can see based on the ads that I'm running how much exposure my membership is getting. Because you really have to think about it as in how many eyeballs are you getting on your things. So ever since I started this membership, I got maximum 30,000 accounts reached. So I got 30,000 eyeballs on the membership offer. So if you are growing at a rate of 50 email subscribers per quarter, you just by far don't have enough exposure to grow your membership at a reasonable rate, right? Brings me back to the ads. But the key point that I wanted to make here is that you are underestimating how much exposure you need, and you need to step up on the visibility game, right? 50 new email subscribers per quarter is a good start, but if you want to build your membership, you need to double, triple, 10x down on that. Last but not least, to kind of, and this is also summarizing it a little bit, if you want to waste 3 years building your membership, then fall in love with your slow overbuilt offer, right? So you will get to that point, or people typically get to that point where they feel like they have invested so much in their membership that they can't let it go. This is called the IKEA effect. I also talk about it in a video that will come out soon. Maybe it is already when this video is uploaded, that talks about the sunk cost fallacy, right? And the value fallacy. So we have a biological tendency to overvalue what we create, even if it's not working. And because we are making all of these efforts on building the perfect product, building the perfect sales page, right, before we go to market, and then when we go to market, we are not getting enough eyeballs on it, we are stuck with an offer that is often beautifully designed, has so much amazing content, so many beautiful resources, and is priced at a point where we maybe have, the first 5-7 members in at $97 a month or $37 a month. And now we're stuck with our back against the wall, right? Because we are in love with this offer. We think it's validated because we have those few people in there. We think we need to be loyal to that message because this is what they ultimately purchased, right? And we have no idea how to grow from there. So the ultimate truth is, and the final takeaway is, that your membership is not stalling because of a lack of effort. So you're working extremely hard on getting those 50 people on your email list, on creating this beautiful, well thought out, gorgeously designed, complete membership. But the thing is that you don't need more polish. You are focusing your energy on the wrong end. What you need to do is you need to give birth to a baby that's a very, very, very moldable sponge. You need to give birth to Play-Doh, bring it in a shape that is remotely attractive and aligned with your value, and get it out there and say, here's my vision. You want to come and shape it with me. You want to be as loud as possible and be like, this is the vision. I think it's a good idea. You should join me. That's what you need to do. That's where all of your energy needs to go. And if you do that, you'll have a membership up and running and off the ground in a month and 10 days rather than in 3 years. All right, I hope you found this helpful. We're going to link another video, maybe the how to start a membership that gets you also to this point. And then I hope to see you in another video.